and welcome to a very late, thank you Streamlabs for your crap not working, Shift Talk with Gregson and myself, Chad. God, that was a pain in the ass. We are on backup plan Alpha Bravo 7.
Literally. We've tried, I think, 8 browsers and several settings, and now we're on a totally different app.
So it's been a lot of fun. And by fun, I don't mean fun at all.
And super not fun, actually.
But we're here. I just want to thank everyone for being lay patient with us.
Yes, thank you.
Greg, how you doing, my brother?
We are lay here. I'm good. I'm now sweating profusely because we have gone from DEFCON 5 freeze alerts to DEFCON 7 sweating my balls off in my garage alerts. It's crazy. It's been literally zero spring. Next week it'll cool down, but man, it went from like 40 degrees to 85 and holding. Not like a cool off in this evening kind of thing. So this is fun. I need to get a portable AC unit and business expense it.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. You get an AC, anything you put behind you as part of your set is a tax write-off.
Damn straight. All this white paint that you love so much, that was a tax write-off last year. So thank you, shifting lanes.
Take that. Please don't find me, IRS.
It's all good. We got a guy backing us and a whole company, so we're fine. But how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm still trying to just be like, and goose from the fucking tech issues. But I do want to share some news of interest. I don't even remember what we're talking about. We're on the backup plan, so I can't really pull up any of the information. This is... Oh, wait, I can. Let me just boot up the second computer. But yes, so we are live on our usual YouTube at Shifting Lanes Garage, Facebook on Shifting Lanes, and now on X. Our first ever live show on X, formerly the Twitter of the platform.
I was going to say, that used to be the Tweetscape. Yes.
Show your age more, Greg.
Yeah. MySpace.com.
I think you say that in jest. I think that needs to make a comeback. Oh.
Dude, absolutely. Well, didn't they have it for a while? It was like a music kind of thing, and then people were just like, nah, this sucks.
I honestly don't know, but like, you remember back in the day where you like choosing your profile song was like a half a day endeavor?
Yes. Oh my God. What do I feel like today? Do I need to be emo or do I need to go hardcore gangster rap?
That was a definite Greg thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do I want Tupac or Dashboard Confessional? Also, fun fact, I hate Dashboard Confessional. That's just the first emo thing that popped into my head. But yeah, I agree. I think it needs to make a comeback. Well, let's make MySpace.com, but only for cars.
I believe that
Car
exists.
profiles. Shh, no. This is gonna be our thing. But yeah, we got lots of fun car stuff to talk about per se.
Yes.
Did you want to dive right into that?
Probably.
Let's talk about what you made a reel on last week first, which was the El Camino, which is not the El Camino, the El Camaro coming back.
Yes. So, as everyone knows, the big announcement this week for, if you are a fan of American Muscle / American Pony cars, the Camaro is making a return. It's going to be on the Alpha 2 platform. which if anybody doesn't know what that is, and I don't blame you if you don't, that is the platform on which the CT5 sits on. And for the purposes of
For the purposes of purposes.
For the purposes of this conversation, and basically, long and short of it is I'm doing a terrible job of explaining that the only reason I care that it's on that particular platform is the fact that the Blackwing comes with a manual and a V8. So it should be no problem whatsoever having a V8 and a manual transmission. And if you try to kind of extrapolate off of that, so, and Alicia, wow, a female viewer, welcome. You are 0.3% of our demographic. Thank you so much.
We salute you.
Steve,
thank
behave.
You for joining.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with Steve. Is it going to be a 4-door? I don't know if I've seen anything confirming it being a 4-door, but let's just, if you do the math, or not the math, but if you kind of look at the industry and sort of like try to draw comparisons, probably the closest and easiest comparison to this would be the Charger Challenger from when they were, actually good.
Yeah.
So.
But look, they haven't made a 4-door Mustang yet. So.
Though they want to.
They want to, yes. But my guess is that they are going to bring this back as a 2-door first, see how it does, and then be like, ooh, there's a lot of interest here. Let's make a 4-door. That's my guess.
Yes. Also, we have David Hodges. He's one of our friends from, as he put it, not me, Down Under. He hopes we're both doing well. Thank you for that. Also, I hope you're staying safe out there. I know you had, or at least part of the country was, or New Zealand. I don't know how far it got, but with a cyclone, which we refer to as a hurricane. So hope everyone's staying safe and everything like that.
Yes.
Alicia goes, it better not be. Sports cars are meant to be 2-doors. I agree. And I mean, like I said, the Charger Challenger precedent has been set, right? You can take the same platform and make a coupe out of it. And if they were...
Oh, go ahead.
And if they were smart, that's the route they would take, because eventually it kind of has to happen. Especially if you're going to go through all the effort of designing a new body, might as well make it what everybody knows and loves. I don't necessarily oppose the idea of 4-door pony cars in general, as long as they keep that sort of sporty feel, and all of that.
Oh my gosh, Chad, I think you have a new best friend in Alicia in chat, because she just goes, Ford also made the abomination of the Mach-E. And I think Chad is about to be like, yes, when can we meet up for beers? Because that is literally what Chad says every time I mention the Mach-E in any way, shape, or form. Or he just talks about it and just like, it's not a real Mustang. It's like, and I agree, it's not a real Mustang. But also, Chad, Alicia, best friends, go.
And insert scene from Step Brothers here.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
No,
you
absolutely.
Become best friends? Yup.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I was literally having a conversation that's somewhat pertinent to this on, the Mustang, the Camaro being muscle or sports cars. They absolutely are sports cars. They're just a little on the heavy side. But that led to, Greg, take a hazard at a guess of what my least favorite car of all time is.
Is it the Mustang 2?
Correct. And in second place, the Mach-E.
The Mach-E. I was just going to say, is the Mach-E number 2? Because that's probably trending towards number 1, I would imagine.
I don't think it could. It's really difficult, but let me put it to you this way. The Mustang 2 on the coattails of the original Mustang was just like, but But I hate. Here's the thing. I hate the Mustang 2 as the entirety of it.
Yeah.
I don't hate the idea of an electric crossover. Just keep the name Mustang off of it.
Right. It's not a Mustang.
To sort of paraphrase the the great philosopher, Willis Smith, keep my name out your mouth.
I like that you went Willis. That's hilarious.
Try to make it sound a little more official, but
yeah, you could. I mean, I agree. Just call it just call it the Mach-E. There's zero reason it needed to be the Mustang Mach-E, or call it the Ford E, which sounds like something our Aussie friends would say. Hey, it's a 40. Like, also great marketing with Old English. You could make
instead of spelling it MACH-E, you call it like the Mach-E, like the French word.
Right. The Marquis. Like, there's so many other things they could have done instead of Mustang Mach. No one that's buying the Mach-E gives a shit about it saying Mustang in the front. Zero Fs at all. So trying to do like this whole like branding thing that Toyota tried to do like the Prius. Remember that Prius had like the C, the Prime, like all the like they tried the same thing with a Mustang. It's like everyone's like, nope, don't care. Give me the two-door sports car and call that thing something else, please. Thanks.
Absolutely. And wow, chat's fairly active. I'm trying to catch up.
That's all good.
We have Damon. Let me just make sure I'm not missing Damon over on YouTube. Recently, I saw a post on Reddit that showed a rendered up image of Camaro 3/4 Gen 3-4 mashup. It had the features boxy front end of the Gen 3 IROC Z, but the pointy nose and headlights of the Gen 4 Z28. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm really interested to see what this thing looks like. I wouldn't be opposed to a modern interpretation of the split bumper. I know that's arguably the least. That and the Catfish Camaros are probably the least desirable stylistically, but I think in modern design language with modern hard points and modern safety requirements, that could be done in such a way that looks good. Or a modern version of the Gen 3. It's a legend for a reason. I think that would be kind of cool. Again, if they could get the dimensionality right on that. Joseph Hain over on Facebook. Sup, boys? I'm hurting. I'm here. I hope you feel better, man.
Hope you don't hurt.
And Damon goes, yeah, it was the best looking Camaro I've seen in a while, and it wasn't even real. That's the thing. Most of the time, renders are going to look better than the real life counterpart, mostly because it doesn't have to abide by any sort of laws or rules. It could just look cool.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same basic thing as when you tried to take this Toyota FT1 styling and drape it over a Z4. And that's how you ended up with the Supra.
Right. I have a question, though, and Alicia actually touched on this in chat. This is a really good question, and it sort of parlays off of the Camaro being announced is sports cars. Do they have to be two doors? I know you said you agree with that. I also agree with that in almost 99% of applications. But what about the BMW M3? Because that's a four-door car, and I would consider that a sports car.
It really, for me, it really boils down to how deep into the weeds of the nomenclature do you really want to go? Like, what do you want to say is the defining characteristic of an sports car, right? Is it the number of doors? Is it the number of doors, right? Because if you're gonna put the M4 or I guess now the M4 in there, or M3, sorry,
M3,
is the sedan. Fuck you, BMW.
I know. Why did they have to do that? Stop.
Does that make the ATS-V and now the CT4V, are those sports, right? Or are those sports sedans? It's I know we're really diving into the minutia of of labeling things, And it's not like simple. It's not like if you sit here and say, here are the classifications of cars. If you put sports in front of it, it has these types of characteristics. An interesting engine is probably part of it. And then it has to handle well, sound good, and blah, 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 right? So then sports car, coupe. Sports sedan, four-door. Sports wagon is a wagon.
Yeah,
I mean, are shooting brakes sports cars?
So I think it goes back to your point of like, it depends on what your definition of a sports car is. And like, obviously, to me, it's the same thing as what is a supercar. It has to have a couple of things. It has to have, specifically for supercars, it has to have exclusivity, slight rarity. It has to hit a certain price point, and it has to have performance. And I think sports cars sort of go in that same vein without sort of the exclusivity, because sports cars aren't necessarily meant to be this exclusive thing that people aren't allowed to like really like reach for. Like a Lamborghini Huracan, that's a supercar. Obviously, it has limited production, even though they've produced a lot of them. But compared to like, a Camry, obviously there's not going to be the same freaking amount of Huracans on the road, or even an M3. Like they produce tens or hundreds of thousands of more M3s than Huracans. But that's the thing. That's where your sort of exclusivity and limited run comes in, right? Then you get to hypercars, which is even more limited run, blah, blah, blah. Either way, an M3 with 4 doors, I would say is a sports car, with sports sedan being, the sort of sub navigation, if you will, the subtopic or the sub classification of that, because sports car, car is a broad term, right? Car encompasses a lot of different vehicles. So sports car has to have like, some performance to it, which is why like, the Miata and the BRZ, like those are sports cars. They do have performance to them. Are they the be all end all of sports cars? No, but they are sports cars by definition, in my opinion. Same as the M3. The M3 is also a sports car. It has performance. It has it's fun. It is a attainable car to a lot of people. Not everyone, but it's not supercar money, blah, blah, blah. So, those sort of things sort of all go into like sports cars. I would consider the M3, the 4-door, a sports car, but calling it a sports sedan is also totally fine.
Right. I mean, and I think at the end of the day, if you remember, people lost their shit when the Charger came back and it was a 4-door.
Yeah. They sure did.
And then they eventually got over it. There's still some people who are like, the Charger is a 2-door. Murder. Like, but the majority are like, you know what? Having a muscle car that just so happens to have 4 doors isn't the worst thing in the world, as opposed to a world where, I don't know, you take that same 4-door car, you remove any and all V8s, you put in its place a straight 6, or, God forbid, an all-electric platform, and call it the same freaking thing. I.e. the new Charger.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, back to the Camaro. I hope it's a 2-door. We don't have a ton of information on it, right? Like, we don't have like, oh, this is what it's going to be. But according to like different sources, it's going to come out in 2028 as a 2028 model year, where it's going to be out in 2027 at some point. But to me, if it's going to be on an Alpha 2 platform, that is the original Alpha platform, which is when the ATS-V, what was the Gen 6 Camaro? Gen 5? I forget the gens of the Camaros, but the one that we tested, back in the day, like about 10 years ago now.
Gen 5.
It was Gen 5. Okay, thank you. That was a really, really good platform and really good chassis. Like, it was if you go back and look at reviews from like 2015 through 2018, the Caddies and the Camaros routinely beat BMW and Audi and Mercedes in those comparisons based on driving dynamics by everyone, Car and Driver, Road and Track, Top Gear, everyone thought from a driver's perspective, the Alpha platform cars performed better, and they definitely did, especially against the BMWs. The G platform was very soft coming out of the E9X platform comparatively. At least initially from 2015 through 2016 or 17, those BMWs were not great. The Caddies definitely beat them, but everyone still chose the BMW because it was just appointed better and it had better, accoutrement, if you will. Either way, this Alpha 2 platform is just the next generation of that Alpha platform, which is the whole reason I'm telling you about that initially. So I think that it's going to be a two-door sports car, and they are going to be like, they're going to see how much market share they can pull away from Ford with the Mustang. They also see that Dodge is floundering with their new Charger, and they're like, ooh, let's bring this back. And my guess is they're going to give it a V8. It's not going to be a hybrid. And it's going to be a V8. It's not going to be a hybrid. And they're gonna take a bunch of market share back. So we'll see.
It's all going to come down to what I said in the video. It's where are they going to price it?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If they were smart, they're sharing a platform. They obviously bringing it back as a two-door is the ideal way to generate maximum buzz. Right? But I think in a certain sense, so here's the thing about it, right? Let's just say hypothetically, the new base V8 at Chevy is the LS6. That makes 535 horsepower and about the same in torque. Right? Yeah. You know what that is? That is 35 horsepower more than the Dark Horse.
Yeah, which is
so if you can come in I don't know how they do it, but 5-10 grand less than that, you will absolutely take a ton of market share from the Mustang. And at this point, that's all you're trying to do, because the Charger ain't going to do diddly squat. The people who are buying those want those. They don't want the V8 pony car of yesteryear. You also have, to Alicia's point over on Facebook, there are Camaro enthusiasts out there who are dying for a new Camaro. But the best case scenario, the way this lasts, the way you generate real competition, and not just in a horsepower war or a dick measuring contest or any of that stuff, that seems to be the automotive industry, right? Like, it's the horsepower wars in every single segment. Look at like the M3 and its competition. It started out with 250 horsepower. Now it's over 5?
Yeah.
A
lot.
Look at the top end Mustang, 700, technically over 800. But in the S550, it was 760 horsepower. You know what that was more than? The Hellcat. You know what that was more than? The previous GT500, which made 680 or 690 or something like that. Like the horsepower. That stuff is all great. That's all good for talking heads like us to go, ooh, horsepower, But what really matters is the GT, the Dark Horse, the SS, the SRT 392, if they ever bring that back.
Hope so.
Those cars in the middle are the cars that their people want to buy. Right? It has the V8. It has all the noise. It may not be the most powerful thing in the world, but they're eminently moddable. So there's that aspirational, as someone who's done it, to where you can take a GT and have it make more horsepower than a GT500.
Right.
Done and done. So you have to have that. So if the Camaro can slot in with, say, the SS, at or slightly less than a regular GT, they're going to sell a ton of them. Have a performance package on it, or go back to the packages, right? Back in the old days when the Camaro first came out, you had, Z28 was your ultimate handling package, your track focused package. You know, then you had the SS, which was your big engine, big power package. Then you had things like the RS, which most people our age associate with the 6 cylinders. Well, back then the RS was a handling package. And then you just sit there and you go, I want that and I want that.
Right.
Boom and boom.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. If they can price this thing underneath the Mustang and they can outperform the Mustang in every metric, and I mean every, interior, performance, looks, because the Mustang is a handsome car, let's be honest. I know it's been updated and blah, blah, blah. It's a good looking car. It's going to be tough to beat that in the looks scenario or area. If they can beat the Mustang both subjectively and objectively, the Mustang is, one, in huge trouble. Two, Dodge's Challenger, Charger, whatever the hell they're going to call the thing moving forward, is definitely going to be sort of DOA, because the newer one is definitely not as attractive as the older one. And if like GM is in a really interesting spot where if they can knock this out of the park, I feel like they could beat Ford in selling this car and actually do what they wanted to do, which was make Camaro sort of a sub-brand. But it all remains to be seen. I think they can do it, but they got to do it right.
Right, and here's the thing, right? Like, I sit here. So they're going to have a factory that's just churning out these Alpha 2 cars. The Cadillacs, the Camaros, and the Buick, as Vic mentioned, which I want to touch on in a second. So, like I said, the pricing is, for my money, the most, and that's no pun intended, the most important thing. Mustang needs to be reined in. And because guess what? Every time the Camaro goes away, the Mustang engineers get a little bit itchy and they're like, let's go take the Corvette on. Let's go after the Corvette. Let's go take down the Corvette. So what do? They build the GTD, which absolutely smokes the C7 Corvette, which is what it was designed to beat. Right? And this happened with like
is no joke.
This happened with the New Edge too. Because they were messing around with a big block version, big block pushrod V8. They were messing around. They went to such a degree that they took a mod motor and took the dimensions and all that and turned it into a V10 as a case study on whether or not they could do it at a certain rate and have it be competitive both in performance and dollars and cents to the then Viper and Corvette. And then the Camaro comes back and they're like, yeah, we don't really need to do that. So like reining the Mustang in, let's put it this way, right? Coyote ain't going anywhere.
No.
It already makes a very healthy amount of horsepower. So like Ford doesn't keep it simple. I can sit here and tell you that what pony car drivers are looking for is a car that, okay, the biggest issue with them is that they're a little heavier than most sports cars. But they have that sports car feel. They handle well. They corner well. They have, this sort of thing. The Challenger is not a pony car. That's still a pure on, well, I don't know what the new one is, but I don't even count that. But the one we all remember, that's still a muscle car. And that's how they carved out their niche. And that's why the new car was such a catastrophically dumb idea. But like the pony cars, the Camaro and the Mustang guys, they want that sports car feel. They want that exciting engine, but we don't need a ton. Give us good, comfortable, supportive seats. Give us good suspension. Give us good brakes. Give us Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and we're good. And we got the manual covered. So outside of that, that's it. They don't need to try to like squeeze every last ounce of a dollar. And here's the bottom line. Here's the other thing that really, really ticks me off about like the modern state of the Mustang. Is It's not like the S650 is a brand new thing. It's not like it's a completely new, ground up redesign like the S550 was. It is based on the S550. You could take the parts pile that is lying in my garage right now and bolt it onto an S650. So it's needlessly expensive. They're needlessly adding things here and there and this and that and it's driving the price up, and now everybody sits here and says the Mustang costs way too much money. Now, granted, all cars right now cost way too much fucking money. Thank you, dealers, and your markups. I know they're not marking up, say, a Kia pickup, not exciting Kia. But what ended up happening was these dealers were charging markups. The OEMs weren't getting a dime of it, and they're like, oh, people are willing to pay these prices? Let's just raise the MSRP.
Yeah.
So, if someone can come in and have a true reality check, everybody wins.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point. And that's the thing with a lot of, like, how these prices sort of got out of hand is, like, we keep paying them. All you have to... I understand that people need transportation. I understand that people need things to live and exist. Don't pay for these things. If you want things to change, go pay for something else. Instead of buying the M5, go buy a Camry. They're nice cars now. They're not like they were in 2004 when, like, the Toyotas were, like, the most boring, horrific, cloth seat, wretched cars you've ever seen. Like, they're nice, good cars. And, like, you don't need a freaking 3 or 5 series anymore. You just don't. But people continue to pay $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 for shit they don't need. And that's why all these prices have gone totally ballistic. It's like, we keep paying for it. Stop. Like, we don't need that. So, if, like, what you're saying is, like, if we can have a true, like, car come in and undercut this stuff, and people pay for that, and that's gonna start the trend of, like, the step down. It's like, well, the Mustang was $50K, now it's $45. Well, the Camaro's $42. Well, the Mustang's $41. Well, the Camaro's $39. That's how you start to do this: is you pay for the cheaper shit. And you want cheaper stuff? Buy the cheaper stuff. Vote with your wallet. That's how you do it.
Right, and not for nothing, you don't need the brand new M5 that's 6 figures. You can go pick any generation.
Correct. Any of them.
You could get an immaculate E39 M5, put a double-din stereo in there, have every single thing you could possibly need from a CarPlay, Bluetooth, all of that stuff. And this is biblically generous, half the price, probably like 30% of the price.
Yes. And subjectively, because, aesthetics is a subjective thing, a much better looking M5. The best looking M5, I would argue, of any generation that they've ever made.
It's there's no might about it. That is the best looking M5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, personally, I agree. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but that is the best looking BMW M5 they ever made by a considerable margin. E34, very nice looking. F10, very nice looking. E39 just blows everything else out of the water. But you're right. You can get a pristine, low mileage example M5 E39, put all the bells and whistles on it, and it'll cost you under $100,000. And I know we're talking about like a really extreme example of car we're speaking about, but a new M5 is like 180 grand. That's insane. That is insane. A new M5 20 years ago was like 50. And I know inflation and blah, blah, blah. Like, but again, stop paying for the expensive stuff. You guys don't need it. If you want to stop paying these crazy prices, you can. It's your money. Just don't pay for it. But the problem is, a person is very smart. People are dumb. And people continue to keep paying for this. A person on their own will not pay for this, but people keep paying for it because they just want all this stuff. They want Netflix. They want Hulu. They want streaming. They want blah 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 blah. And we just keep paying for it. It's like, stop paying for it. This isn't an economics podcast, but like, guys, like stop. You don't need all this shit. Just don't pay for it. Get the cheap stuff. The cheap stuff is still really good. The end.
I would even argue that from a pure driving dynamic standpoint, it's better.
It is. I agree. Totally.
And it
totally is.
20 years, more than 20 years older.
Yeah, David, sorry. This is Shifting Lanes garage, so I like to have it in the garage, and my garage doors are clearly very open, and we live not next to, but we live near enough to a major international airport that them planes be big, them planes be loud, and them planes be over my house all the fucking time. So. Apologies there. Yes, you may hear some planes in the background. I will try to also mute my mic as they land in my backyard.
So we have another just goated YouTube username. The Rabid Squirrel Sage, or Rabid Squirrel's Age.
Either one.
He wants to know the details. So I have yet to see anything absolutely 100% confirming whether or not it's going to be a 2 or 4-door or both. We're sort of speculating on what would be the best route given the platform and the fact that, let's face it, again, if you brought out a Camaro and say it was the base Camaro or the SS Camaro was the exact same price as a Mustang GT, the exact same price, it still makes 65 more horsepower and a hell of a lot more torque. So, assuming the suspension, the gearbox, well, the gearbox in the manual mode will be better because MT82. Please don't die on me. You're the one thing I'm not replacing when I rebuild the engine. I just need you to last for 2 years. My car is currently directly underneath me in the garage. It's going to have a V8, and it's going to be on the Alpha 2 platform, which is the same platform as the Cadillac CT5, most notably. Outside of that, there hasn't been a lot. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of, big journals saying, here's why it's likely going to be this, and you should believe me because I've been writing for blah, 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 blah. I'm about, I don't know, 20, 30 more of these just big journals just producing just slop articles away from, you will start to see my villain arc. So that will most likely be happening on the X platform, in case you were wondering. But like, case in point, the Car and Driver article on the RT3 Mustang. It doesn't hook. Well, that's because you got the wrong tires on it. Oh, it's not the fastest thing. This thing's faster. Blah, 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 blah. Do you know who Vaughn Gittin Jr. is? I'll give you a hint. Professional drifter / in his own words, fun haver. That's what the car's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, rant on the modern state of journalism aside. To quote the Unsubscribed podcast, bully journalists. No, don't actually do that. I don't advocate bullying. Colorfully comment on their posts and tell them I sent you.
Debate them harshly, because that's what debating's supposed to be, and debate them in a way where call them out for their shit. That's what you're supposed to do.
So here's the thing on the and I think the biggest thing, here's the thing when I start to talk about like the Camaro and stuff like that is number one, it's the return of a brand or a name that isn't going to be a crossover, which is very, very low bar, but even a bar that Mitsubishi couldn't get over. Hell, even Ford put on a crossover. I'm not calling it that. It's the Macchiato.
Yep.
You know, and you see this sort of, you know, the Blazer was a crossover, died miserably. You know, so I'm personally of the mindset of, while I would prefer the two-door to be the launch, because I feel like that would maximize on all of the positivity that this will bring. You know, between the Camaro's back, they did it the right way. It has an LS6. It's got all the power and the torque. A manual transmission is what car guys want. And as long as, like we said, it's priced correctly, it's going to do phenomenally. I would even go as far as to sit here and say that General Motors should look at their dealers and say, this is the maximum you can mark these things up.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
$5,000.
I hope
that's
they
at
do.
most. $5,000. That's at absolute most. That's the most you can mark it up. If you mark it up a cent more, you're not getting any more, and you're not getting any Corvettes.
I hope they do, because that, like, the whole dealership model now makes zero sense. Everything else is on demand. Look, I don't like Tesla as a company. The one thing that they have done right is stores where you can just buy it and walk out. And there's zero haggling. It's like, here's our price. The end. And you know what? I respect the shit out of that, because all of this like dealer rigmarole where you're going in and you are just like, oh, let's do the 4-box technique. Let's negotiate based on your price and your monthly payment and blah 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 blah. It's so antiquated, and it just makes me so angry that it was like, give me a price, let me pay that price, or let me go elsewhere and pay a cheaper price for arguably the exact same fucking thing. The end. Like, I'm so sick of like dealerships just being like, let's haggle. No one wants to haggle. No one wants to haggle with you, salesman that literally doesn't know anything about cars. Nobody wants that. 99% of salesmen at car dealerships don't know shit about cars. They're salesmen. They're good salesmen. They're good salespeople. But a lot of them don't know anything about cars. And they just happened into like being a car salesman. Like, make that make sense. You're giving people a place to buy probably the second largest purchase anyone will ever make in their life outside of a house. You're giving people that don't know the thing that they're selling, or people do know the thing that you're selling, and they're put in this situation where they have to just be disingenuous, and it's just such a scummy thing. Like, you did car sales for a little while. Like, it's not.
I hated the entire fucking process. It's why I don't do it.
Exactly. And you're a car person.
If you want to kill your passion, if you're a car guy or a gal and you want to kill that passion for cars, go sell them.
There you go.
Because you got some dingus who's your sales manager who's going to tell you everything you need to do, and if you don't do something, he's going to do it, but you're the one sitting here like, here's my sales manager. He's going to take really, really good care of you. I'm sorry, could you bend over a little more? He can't exactly get there.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. But that's literal case in point.
And the other thing is I understand with these like performance cars or these high demand cars, all this other sort of stuff, that dealerships get an allotment. And they want to maximize on that allotment. And then that's capitalism 101. And to sit here and say, supply and demand dictates the price, right? But on the flip side of it, it is it's not sustainable. And again, like I said before, this whole markup situation that dealerships did post 2020 is one of the reasons why cars are so expensive now.
Yep.
Because again, the OEM said, oh, customers are willing to pay that. Well, I don't have to do diddly squat, and I'm just going to raise the MSRP by $5,000. And that $5,000 isn't going into the car. It's going straight into their, P&L.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say this though. When the Camaro comes out, and if you happen to be someone who's interested in buying one and you do not want to pay a markup or some exorbitant price, sit down and make the dealer order you one. And if they won't, you walk.
Yep.
I guarantee you, if you go to 3 dealerships, one of them will say, yeah, I'll do that. Because here's the thing. Vic mentioned it in chat. That there is General Motors is poised to be arguably, how do I put this? If not the most exciting American brand, right up there. Who's the most exciting brand right now? It's not fucking Dodge or Chrysler. It's Ford. Whether you want to admit it or not, because guess what? You can go to Ford and if you want a sports car? Here you go, Mustang. You want an off-road truck that's inspired by Baja racing? Here's a Raptor. You want one with a V8? Here's a Raptor R. Oh, you can also get a Raptor version of the Bronco. General Motors, meanwhile, they have the Corvette, and then nothing really all that interesting. But Corvette, Camaro, the Jimmy is making a comeback.
Yeah.
Which means, suffice to say, that there will be some brand engineering going on. And whether they call it the Blazer or if they've done irreparable harm to that nameplate, there'll be one of those. A mid-size pickup truck-based off-roader designed to compete with the likes of the Toyota 4Runner, the Jeep Wrangler, the Raptor, even though the Raptor's technically sitting on the Raptor Bronco is technically sitting on a full-size chassis. You get the idea. Those sort of old-school off-roaders that are off-roaders, like, for off-road's sake. And that's like Mr. Germbug 007 over on YouTube. He goes, the prices on all cars these days need to come back down to earth. Shake my head. Shaking my head. Wow, I shortened the shortened thing. Everything has gone way up in the last handful of years. Exactly. That's the thing. Some manufacturer, some OEM has to be and I guarantee you, if they go back to this, I remember back in the day, so where I live, I used to get ads for Brad Benson Hyundai all of the time. Brad Benson, former offensive lineman for the New York Giants, started a dealership. His whole business model was, let's just say he wanted to make the math easy, $100,000 a month in profit. He wouldn't get there by selling 100 cars, right? He would get there by selling 300 cars, but taking an individual profit on each one of less. It was volume based. And the manufacturer that kind of figures that out and figures out, if we start to do this and we get the reputation that we are not jacking up the prices for no particular reason other than greed, because let's face it, every single time we do a post on someone ridiculously marking up something, Honda frickin' Prelude guy, I'm looking directly at you, you pile of garbage. A car nobody wants for $42,000. What planet or drug spectrum were you on that someone was going to pay double that?
To your point, though, about GM potentially being the most exciting American brand, I think that's a really good take. And I think Damon over on YouTube said Toyota is coming out with 4 sports cars by next year. GR GT, Mark 6 Supra, Gen 8 Celica, Gen 4 MR2. GM has a chance to be the American Toyota. And what I mean by that is, remember when Toyota was really boring? It was the mid-2000s, even well into the 2010s, right? And they had basically nothing exciting. They had an aging 4Runner, great vehicle, awesome vehicle. They had an aging Tacoma, also great vehicle. They had basically no sports cars. They had the FT1, which is an exciting concept, Will that ever come to fruition? Who knows? But even that like 2003 to like 2015 era of Toyota, name a car that was exciting from them.
From what
There
years?
wasn't one. There wasn't one.
Arguably,
2000
Lexus was more exciting with the IS.
That's what I was just going to say. The Lexus IS was the most exciting thing Toyota was making from 2003 through 2015 by a considerable margin. Everything else was boring. And it was not boring in the sense of like, oh, it's just a good solid car. No, like the designs were awful. Like go back and look at what a 2004 Toyota Camry and Lexus ES looked like. They were horrid. They're gross looking, and they have not aged well, any of them. MR2 Spider, sure, fine, but nobody wants that one. Corolla XRS, no. Sorry, no. Matrix SR, no. None of those were exciting cars. None of them were good. The Matrix SR XRS is a sneaky little car because of how rev happy and fun that thing is. It's not an exciting car. However, as soon as 2015 hit, Toyota started to get this excitement back with them. They had the FT1 concept. They had a bunch of new stuff coming out. They had an updated 4Runner, an updated Tacoma in 2014 that had a facelift. Then they had the next, they had a gen that was like, oh, this is a really solid thing. Either way, Toyota started to take the steps needed to become an exciting brand. Now they had the Supra. Now they had the GR Corolla. Now they have this, that, and the other thing, and blah, blah, blah. Now they have 4 sports cars coming out next year. GM is in the exact same position, but they already have the Corvette. They've always had the Corvette. So they can just literally use that as their baseline. And the baseline is the C8 Corvette, which is an utterly insane car. It is biblically fast. It is arguably the best base sports car ever made. Because of what you get from that car, performance-wise, for the price, it is legitimately borderline sports supercar in its base form as a mid-engine car. It's insane. That's your baseline. That's a crazy baseline to build from. And that's the only thing you have? You're telling me GM doesn't have the freaking chutzpah, the cojones, and the money to build out a Silverado Raptor fighter, a sports car, a considerable affordable sports car, a Camaro that can rival the Mustang? Bullshit. They have every tool at their disposal, and they should use all of it because they can turn into Toyota and they can beat Toyota at their own game in that sense. They have everything.
Oh, just in this country alone, if they start making halfway exciting stuff, the Bowtie Brigade is just going to like they'll be beating down the hatches. No, I mean,
yes.
Here's the thing. We say this all the time. Sports cars, sports trucks, off-roaders, whatever you want to call them. They are the means in which to drive excitement to the brand. Like you said, when we were growing up, Toyota, well, not so much when we were growing up. When we were graduating high school into college and maybe a little after that, Toyota was the brand of beige. It wasn't offensive, but it wasn't exciting. It was, here's a car. It'll outlive you was like the biggest thing about them. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of saw Toyota. Now, wait, they make this, they make that, they may do what?
Right.
And now we're like expecting them. It's like, okay, you got rid of the Mark V Supra, let's go. Announce the Mark 6 one, let's go. Come on, we're waiting.
Yep.
So it's like, and like I said, like I said, General Motors has the opportunity to sit here and become that brand of excitement. And like now obviously a GMC is probably never going to undercut, say, a Ford in terms of making it less expensive than a Bronco. But if they can price it, or if there's a Chevy equivalent, right? Like say they bring back the K5, the new K5 Blazer or something, right? Like, they have an opportunity, slap a V8 in it. Again, here's what is one of the best-selling truck models out there. It's the F-150 short bed single cab. Because you can get it with a V8. And then you either just drive it around because V8, or you turn it into, and this is Manuel from Midnight Performance, words, not mine, who is of Spanish descent, the Mexican GTR. That is just ridiculous. With base mods, you could take one of those and run 10s, right? Like,
that's insane.
On the flip side, if you do that in the off-roading world, you don't even have to modify the fucker. If it just has a V8 and it's the same price as the Bronco, you will absolutely steal market share from the Bronco. By a wide margin. Yeah. Not a wide margin, but by a good amount. Right? Like it's not rocket science. And I mean, and again, it's not like they're developing a brand new platform. Granted, I don't know if the Colorado or the Canyon comes with a V8 anymore.
I don't think it does.
So figuring out how to get a V8 in there would be...
They can figure it out.
But they're
let's be honest.
But let's also face it, the Canyon and the Colorado haven't gone through many changes, and it wasn't all that long ago that the Colorado had a V8, like an LS variant
right.
V8 option.
We're not that far removed from it.
You know, Arika Nichols over on YouTube goes, Toyota when I was growing up had the Celica GT and the Supra. Yeah, like when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, you had the Supra, you had the Celica, you had the Gen 2 MR2, and like it was a pretty exciting, like there was a sports car for pretty much anyone in the Toyota lineup. And then come 2003 when the Supra left, yeah, you had the convertible. I'll get to that in a second, Metal over on X. Yeah, you had the last of the MR2s, which was okay. Oh, he meant the Celica Supra. Oh, my mistake. 80 sports cars. Okay.
Yeah.
I was at most 9 years old in the 80s. But here's the thing. If General Motors can do it and make a success and show the way, again, it comes back to this whole pricing thing that we've been talking about on and on and on and on. And that is, if they can show the way, if they can show it being profitable, if they can show that a trickle down from a Camaro gets people into other stuff, not that people who are like, ooh, I want a Camaro. Tell me more about the Equinox, right? Like,
yeah.
But if it builds brand excitement and like interest, guess what's going to happen? Other manufacturers are going to see that and go, oh crap! If we can't match them, they're going to steal all of our customers. If you make that Jimmy as capable as a TRD, like say your top of the range is as capable as a TRD Pro 4Runner. Guess what you're going to do? Take a buttload of sales from Ford and a buttload of sales from Toyota. Yeah. Now it's on them.
Especially if it's $5,000 less.
That's what I'm saying. And then it's on them to respond.
Correct. Exactly.
Let's see here. Where did I saw? Yeah, Metal goes, the Colorado once had a 5-cylinder. Yes, they did. And good news, it's part of the Atlas platform. So a lot of people know about the Ameribera, which is the 4.2 liter the Vortec 4200 straight 6 engine that you can boost to the moon on relatively stock parts. That family of engines was a 6, a 5, and a 4. And if you go on Nivlak 57's YouTube page, he took one of those 5 cylinders, boosted it, put it in his, I forget what it is. I think it's an LTD wagon, a Fox body, by the way, and was running 8s with it. And it sounded like an old Audi Quattro.
I mean, if anything sounds like that, it's a W. because those cars sound so freaking good. They are, in my opinion, a top 10 sounding engine ever. Like that 5-cylinder Audi slash Volvo sound, like it's just something to it. It stirs the loins, you know? Like if anything's got that comparison, I'm in 100%.
And that's arguably one of the things that if one of the signs that I won the lottery is getting a Colorado or Canyon with that 5-cylinder, but turning it into a road course pickup truck with that engine.
That'd be so sick.
Um,
You wouldn't know, but there would be signs.
It's like, Chad, what is that? And oh, I see Chad has bought a Quattro. Wait, where is it? I guess it's behind the pickup truck.
No. Look in the pickup truck.
But let's see here. Yeah, they were talking about the Celica Supra, the first iteration of the Supra was a trim level or a model variant of the Celica.
Yeah.
And then eventually those split. My mistake for getting what you meant wrong. Alicia over on Facebook goes, maybe GM should resurrect Pontiac and bring back the GTO and GXPS.
I'd be down for that. Again,
I think there's
it's a cheaper option.
I think we can live in a world where Pontiac can make a comeback as a, how do I put this? I know their old tagline is like builds excitement or is excitement or something having to do with the excitement. I think there's a world where they can come back, but I don't necessarily I think you'd have to figure out a way to do it in such a way to where once the novelty runs off, people still buy. Still buy it, right? Like, what's the biggest issue the Camaro has had throughout the entirety of its history, right? You had Gens 1, 2, and 3. And then it went away for a while. Then you had the Gen 4. Or no, I'm sorry. I think the Gen 4, actually, there was no gap between the 3 and the 4. At any rate, between the 4 and the 5, there was a big gap. And then the 5 comes out, which is followed by the 6. And then that nostalgia carried it for a while, and then it fell off. The trick to having Pontiac be successful is figuring out a way to where it can be sort of the rowdy brand. So it's not purely badge engineering. It would have to be a large dosage of brand engineering, if I'm being perfectly honest. So if you have the Camaro, change the body up a little bit, give it the split grille, the arrowhead emblem. Still one of the coolest logos ever to exist for any car. It's right up there, in my opinion, with the Abarth logo.
That should be a whole other podcast. we just discussed the best logos ever, dude. Abarth is one of those that people don't realize it's awesome, and then you see it, you're like, oh shit, that's cool. Like to me, that's top 3. It's so cool.
Yeah, so
it's so cool.
That's the thing. I don't think you need to make a case that Pontiacs would sell, and the second you bring it back, if done correctly, having it last, having it be different enough from the Camaro, or to where no need to apologize, Steve. Go be with your son.
Yes. Bail when needed.
So, like, figuring that out, maybe every 5 to 10, or maybe every generation shift, it ping-pongs between Firebird or Trans Am, or Firebird and Trans Am to the GTO. And then you have, and they mean different sort of things, because it's a really hard sell. The biggest issue General Motors had was it got bloated, and it was making 4 different fucking versions of every car. You had the Chevy Cobalt, the Pontiac G5, the whatever the fuck Saturn variant of it there was. Then it was
Oh yeah.
the Ion or something like that.
Ion. Yeah, I think it was the Ion.
You know, and that sort of corporate bloat is just obviously non-sustainable. So you'd have to figure out. Don't get me wrong. I want Pontiac to come back, but they'd have to figure out a way to do it in such a fashion that, again, what happens when the nostalgia? Oh, Pontiac's back. This is great. 5 years, and in 6 years, it's like, oh, Pontiac's been around for a bit. They haven't really changed anything. I'm gonna go look at the new. Who knows? Dodge may have a Charger that's worth a fuck by that point. Don't we speak of Saturn? They had some interesting stuff. So Metal, aka Anthony, in case anyone was wondering, Pontiac's demise was being neutered by GM. They went front-wheel drive family bore box in the 90s. So by the time the later GTO came around, they were an emasculated shell of themselves. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with like the corporate bloat. You know, so it was all badge engineering. They had one car and they tried to sell it to you 4 different ways, or 3 different ways at most, right? Like, so there'd like I said, I would almost hear me out on this. I think you could do it, and it's going to sound weird, but hear me out. Follow Genesis's lead.
Yes.
I know that sounds fairly crazy. But remember, Genesis started as a Hyundai model.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say you bring back the Camaro. And there's a trim level of the Camaro that's either the Pontiac or the Trans Am or the Firebird or the GTO package or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Now people are like, ooh, Pontiac's back. Let me give me some of that. Oh, it's just badge engineering, blah, 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 blah. And then 5-6 years down the road, okay, we have enough interest in Pontiac. Let's launch a new car. Which, again, is going to be a completely rebodied. What are you enhancing over there?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to type to you and it's not working.
I just hear...
Enhanced.
So, like, yeah, Damon over on YouTube says Oldsmobile was still around, too. Like, so they'd have to figure out a way to bring the Pontiac name, have it mean something, then gauge interest at low risk, and then proceed from there. You know, again, I want to see Pontiac come back, but at the end of the day, if you just reshell a Camaro, which would be what a Firebird would be, and I have no problem with that, by the way. Okay? I have absolutely no problem with that. As long as they do the bodywork right. That's going to lose its appeal over time, especially if it costs more than the Camaro. And given that it would be a lower volume, it would be the only model in the range, if not one of 2, right? It would more than likely carry with it a quote-unquote premium price tag. You know, so like, it's all that has to go into the equation. And then last thing I wanted to touch on with the Camaro, and then we're going to go to story time with Greg. Everybody's favorite.
Yay!
Everybody's favorite time of the show. I think also one of the coolest things about this whole announcement, and Vic, you mentioned this a long time ago, and I told you I would get to it. Took me a little longer to get there, but it's just been great conversation. That sounded weird, but the fact that there's going to be a Buick on the Alpha 2 platform, that sounds pretty dang interesting.
Yes, new Grand National.
Could be and here's the thing: if they really wanted to, they have a chance to do one of the all-time coolest fucking things by any OEM ever. They're not going to do it for one simple reason that I'll get to. But hear me out. We know, whether it be an LT or the new LS, which is basically the same outside architecture, i.e. the footprint and the way you would mount the fucker is the same. Nobody wants a turbocharged pony car, Sean. Ask Dodge how that is going.
Yeah.
But, Sean, you're going to like where I'm going with this, so
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. So, you know what's also based on that architecture and technically slightly smaller? The LV3, which is the V6 version. So it's a push rod V6 engine. You put pistons, rods, and I think those cranks are actually surprisingly stout. Couple of turb skis on it, like the original Grand National, and like the original Grand National, it's a push rod V6 with all of, let's just say, Camaro SS chassis accoutrements on it. People would lose their shit for that. A new GNX. It's never going to happen for the simple fact that they're like, no, the LV3 is the V6 nobody fucking wants, but just takes in the cargo van and the trucks because it's the base engine. But as our friends over at Scoggin Dickey Parts Center proved, on basically a stock one with pistons and rods, you can make over 1,000 horsepower.
That's crazy.
Those are stout. So imagine you bring back a Grand National. Now, there may be some people that are like, oh, a four-door Grand National. But think about it. Now you have a Buick that people are going to want because it's not competing with the Camaro, because the people who want a Camaro don't want a V6.
No.
But people who want a Grand National would absolutely sign up in a second for it. And it would make Dodge and their whole new Charger thing look like complete weenuses. It's like, we made this up, but the Hurricane, to have a Buick outselling that would just chef's kiss.
They have a chance to do the funniest thing ever.
Like I said, they're probably not going to do it. If they were to do anything, if they were to do anything like that, which again is slim, my guess would be the 3.6 liter twin turbocharged V6 that calls the CT4 Blackwing home, which is still a very good engine, because with those things you could downpiped and a tune be well over 600 horsepower.
Yeah, which is awesome, by the way. But yeah, but that's where Dodge went wrong. Like, you still offer the V8 and then you offer this other thing. Like, that's what you should have done from the get-go. And that's, if Buick can have that side of it, this performance V6, and the Camaro has the V8, it was like, oh well, Buick Grand National, Camaro V8, like, it just, that goes so seamlessly hand in hand with their history. Like, just do that. Do that.
Right.
Got the offering.
And like I said, if it's the 3.6 or the LV3, guess what it has? An LS/LT bell housing pattern. You know what bolts right up to that? A T56. Like,
it writes itself.
And could you imagine people excited about Buick again?
That don't live in China, because they're huge in China.
Oh.
But Americans that aren't elderly. You know?
Right. I mean, you know what? GM needs to hire me.
I agree.
But that's just like I said, I honestly think it would be the 3.6 out of the CT4, just because pretty sure that would bolt right in with no other issues. Alicia goes, to be fair, there are a lot of idiots driving with V8s that shouldn't even have a driver's license. Yes.
Accurate. There's also a lot of idiots driving literally everything else that shouldn't have a driver's license either. So, just fair play there. There are a lot of 4-cylinder drivers that shouldn't have a license also.
Yes, and we have ranted on and on and on and on and on and on and on about how absolutely just Greg has a version of it. I have a version of it. We've talked about it at length. Maybe we should actually just make a long form video out of it and just be like, go watch that. It's not like we've been in content creation for fucking 14 years.
I know, right?
Been
a while.
The standard of driving in this country is horrid.
Yep. First article
what you need to
I ever wrote.
What you need to do to get a license is laughable. How easy it is.
Yeah.
Sean over here saying they should do a hot V version of it. Like, we're trying to make it affordable, Sean.
Cool, but also no.
I'll tell you what. When you do the LS swap in Timmy, make that a hot V.
Yes, there you go.
There you go. You have a chance to do it, my friend.
And we don't mean light it on fire.
Right.
That's the wrong hot V.
Well, in that case, I've experienced that and can say with absolute no doubt in my mind that sucks.
Yes. Yeah, that's not the right hot V for sure.
But like again, this goes back. General Motors has a chance to be stealing a headline pretty much every single quarter, if not monthly.
Yes.
Imagine this.
Every week.
New Camaro comes out. Oh, there's the excitement. A couple months later, Buick Grand National comes out. Oh, it's got a V6. It's okay. It's got with turbos. The GNX is back. Whoa. The Jimmy is back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, it writes it.
Yeah. It does write itself. You're right. It's
another one of those 1 + 1 = 3 situations.
Yeah. I also feel like this is their last opportunity to do so.
I don't necessarily think that.
I do think eventually we are going to be an all hybrid EV, hydrogen, whatever.
Don't you
society?
Don't you back off synthetic fuels on me now?
Hang on, no, I'm not. I think down the line, 100, 200 years, I think that's a reality that we're gonna all sort of become accustomed to. I think synthetic fuels will help bridge that gap, but like, I sort of think this might be their last shot at doing the internal combustion funsies, 100, 200 years in full before everything does go hybrid, which eventually will become EV, which will eventually become hydrogen or synthetic fuels. And I don't know if synthetic fuels are going to potentially come to fruition. I don't know. I think so. That's my guess. But like, I don't know. I'm a guy sitting in a garage. I'm not an engineer. So like, I feel like if they are going to do it now, do it now.
And it's also just so happens to be we'll just say, and this is as far as we're going to take this particular frame of mind, it is also in a particular political climate where
it's favorable.
The EPA has been a little, as they should be,
gutted.
Yes.
So yeah,
which again they should be.
Yeah. So but you're right. Like now, if they're gonna do it, they got to do it now. Plain and simple.
Yes. So, for Greg's story time.
Ooh, my topic of the week.
Yes. We've done this before, and guys, we've talked about this before, but I feel like it's apt given tonight's topics because the second topic is pretty much more of the same, just from across the Pacific.
Yes.
Land of the rising sun, so to speak, as some may say.
Yes.
But let's centralize it. An American car from the pages of history.
Okay.
That you can bring back that we haven't talked about tonight. So no bringing back any Pontiacs.
Okay.
No, don't bring back the Grand National. Camaro, what have you. Mo- But any American car from yesteryear that you can bring back, and what modern powertrain would you put into it?
Oh man. Okay. Could it, one point of clarification before you vacate the premises, can it be something that already exists, but, C1 Corvette? So like, obviously a Corvette still exists, but it has to be a nameplate that doesn't exist currently.
I will say
But
this. I think the notion of bringing back a front engine V8 Corvette has been sort of talked to death. So that's off limits.
okay.
However, it can, and I also want, for in the same vein with that rule set, let's just ditch the Charger and Challenger since it's a
Okay.
shell of what they used to be. After
Okay.
that,
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So there's lots of options. I'm already seeing people in chat saying this. So Alicia on Facebook says Chevelle, great chat. I mean, if we're gonna go with like, hang on, I'm just bringing up chat on my phone. So if we're gonna go with like, that era, obviously Chevelle. I mean, it doesn't argue one of the best nameplates like ever from Chevy. So yes, that's a great shout. Very much yes. But if it's me, and again, I always sound like a Ford shill, but I'm not. I'm not a huge. Like, I've owned one Ford in my entire life, and it was the most abysmal Ford, like maybe almost ever. Chad would disagree with me. Obviously, the Mustang 2 is not his. It's bad. It's bad. He hates that thing. But I own a '98 Ford Taurus or '99 Ford Taurus, the big jelly bean one with the circle headlights. I had a Rockford Fosgate sub. I was in high school. My parents got it for like $6,000. They're like, "Here's your car. It's big. It's safe." And I'm like, "Cool. This thing is. It was cheap, and it was great. It was a car, and it did really well. It lasted a long time. So that's the only Ford I've ever owned. Personally, my family has owned Fords in the past. They had a couple of Explorers and stuff. Great cars. Great SUVs. They treated us really well, but the biggest Ford, or the only Ford that I've had that I've ever owned as a person was that Jelly Bean Ford Taurus. So I talk a lot about Ford. We talk a lot about Ford just because Chad owns one. You know, it they're a good car company, but I obviously own a Volvo. It's behind me. Um, it's one of those things where it sounds like yeah, yes. Metal X Meta, which is Anthony over on X. Yes, I had the Jelly Bean Taurus. That's right. But we talk about Ford a lot on this channel because Chad has a Mustang. It's an awesome car, and Ford's an exciting company. They make really cool stuff like we talked about previously. For me, I think it would be very interesting if, oh my God, sorry, I just got distracted with the size of this moth in my garage because, again, it's hot out. We're finally it's like probably half of my palm. It's pretty cool. Either way, I'm getting distracted by bugs. The Ford Fairlane is an interesting name because if you're talking about four-door Camaros and you're talking about potentially sports sedans, sports saloons, depending on where you are from in the world, wouldn't it be interesting if Ford brought back the Fairlane and made it this muscle four-door? That would be super freaking cool. You got your Mustang. You don't even need to make a four-door Mustang at that point. You got the Fairlane. The Fairlane would be so awesome if you could bring that back and you make 3 different versions of it. You get your base 4-cylinder for those that want it as the new, and make this like the new Fusion or the new Taurus, right? You have the Fairlane's back. It's got your base 4-cylinder, your economy car. Great. Love that. Then you have your sort of like sporty variant, your WRX to the STI, if you will. You put a V6 in it. It's got, not necessarily crazy power, but it's got 300, 350. It's got some trim options. It's got leather seats, maybe a valance in the front. Like, it looks cool. Then you get a Ford Fairlane with a Coyote V8, lowering springs from factory. And Ford Performance is no slouch. They can make this freaking happen. Why not that? Why not a Ford Fairlane with a Coyote V8 up front, putting out 500 horsepower in a four-door sedan that could rival an M3, M5. Well, not an M5 anymore. The thing's 700 freaking horsepower, which is insane. But could rival an M3. Wouldn't that be a thing? Like, that sounds like something I absolutely want and would 100% cross shop for my next car. Like, that sounds so freaking fun and so freaking cool. We already talked about like Pontiac. We talked about, Camaro coming back, Camaro four-door. If we're talking in those scopes and in that realm, Ford Fairlane fits that bill. Let's just do that. I would love for that to come back. Oh, and Chad's in chat. You're not Vic, though. Make it a wagon. Hell yes. Ford Fairlane wagon with a 500 horsepower freaking Coyote V8 up front. I would literally go to the dealership tomorrow and trade this thing in. That sounds like the best thing ever. 500 horsepower, four-door wagon that could beat an M3. Done. Super done. I'm in. I am so in, and it doesn't have to be an Audi or a Mercedes. I love those cars. They're awesome German engineering. They're beautiful. They're cool. They're European. I love European stuff. But I'll tell you what, an updated Taurus Fusion that's called the Fairlane with a Coyote. Yup, give me all of that. Absolutely love that. What have you guys been saying in chat? Anthony, bring back the Chevy love. Hey, look, it's a small truck. I'm down for bringing back more small trucks. Isuzu trucks are still made today, so it's entirely possible. That's true. That is true. I mean, there's another topic. We're not going to get into it, but Kia is bringing a freaking body-on-frame truck to the United States, apparently, in the not-too-distant future. We got that coming out. We got the new Jimmy coming out, like we said. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out. So, like, look, Chevy Love can make a comeback. And like you said, Isuzu still makes trucks, so it's within the GM architecture. It's really not that far out of the question. It could happen. Lincoln Continental with Aston V12. I mean, that's the sort of unhinged awesomeness that I very much subscribe to. So yes, I'm cool with that as well. It's just too bad that Ford and Aston don't have that relationship anymore. So, but I know the whole ask was, you could put anything in it. But still, I kept it realistic. A Ford Fairlane with a Coyote V8 that could potentially, Chad, you said, be a wagon. Like, that's actually something that could, in a wild way, happen. I mean, I think that'd be really cool.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, you want to, what am I doing? Here we go. They want to make a four-door Mustang, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Mustang is a brand. And, like, I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that just because it's a brand, you have to use it, right? Like, there's, let's just say there's so much brand engineering that's going on that's been just failure, right?
Yeah.
So why not call it like a Fairmont or a Fairlane or something to that effect,
right?
And go from there, because it's, again, like, GM is about to make a range of four-door, quote-unquote, super sedans. They already have the CT5, and this the Blackwing, I'll just say that. There's likely to be a four-door Camaro. There's going to be a Buick variant of it.
Yep.
I just think, again, it's one of those things where, okay, the other guys are doing it. Well, shoot. And I mean, here's the thing, right? Ford does that. The Charger is cooked. The Hellcat will bring it back. But
yeah, for sure.
So
same question to you then, while I also vacate the premises for a second. Same question to you. I'm curious to hear what you have to say on the matter. And well, I won't be here for that, but
the best time of the show. I don't know. I ping pong back and forth. I like the idea of bringing back some sort of. I mean, shoot, if you brought the four-door Mustang to fruition, why not bring back like the LS from the Lincoln, right? Back in the day, that was, I guess, technically a Jaguar in a different bodywork, and in my estimation, better looking bodywork. That had a V8 up front. That was pretty cool looking. Bring that back. All of a sudden, you have a Lincoln sports sedan. I don't know if that fits with what they want to do with that particular brand, but that could be something. I would love to see the return of stuff like the Lightning, street trucks. People are already taking, like I said, the single cab short bed F-150s with four-wheel drive and the Coyote under the hood and slamming them and making street trucks out of them. So why not do that? Same vein. Why not think of something like... I mean, I was talking about the 5-cylinder before. Like, why not do that with a Canyon or a Colorado? The Colorado Extreme. If you know, you know. That sort of stuff I think would be cool. Vic says the Chevy Astro with the 6.7 liter V8. I mean, vans in general are interesting from the standpoint of that they've reached the point where they were uncool as hell when I was a kid. No, here's the thing. As much as I like Ford, as much as I love the Coyote V8, the EcoBoosts, show me one that sounds halfway decent. Based on how long that's going to take you, I'll expect a response by Monday. But back to the van point, vans were hideously uncool when I was a kid. But now they've reached that point where the crossover came out to dethrone the minivan. And now crossovers are ubiquitous. So let's bring back vans. And a performance version of the van. What was the thing people were yelling from the rooftops when they were doing their last calls over at Mopar? A Hellcat Pacifica. And Sean goes, Ford Ranger with the mid-engine Coyote. Why mid-engine? You were so close. How about a Ford Ranger with a Coyote? I wonder if that would fit. I'm sure someone's done it. They've put... Or how about this? Oh, that would be... I would say Godzilla, because they're narrower, but they are tall boys. They are really tall engines. What else? Here's one from a blast from the past, from Fords of yesteryear. What about the Mercure XI? So something from Ford that was basically the American version of the Sierra that was over in Europe. Why not get one of those to compete with a Miata, a GR86, that affordable, doesn't have to have a galactic ton of power. One of those little two-door sports cars. Ford Festiva with a Focus RS engine. Why not the whole driveline? Vic goes, honestly, I'm shocked how it drove for a Pacifica. I mean, here's a fun story. I remember back when we were in, I think this was just out of college or our last year in college. No, it had to be college because my ex-girlfriend at the time came with us. Or no, that was... I forgot when it was. Ex-girlfriend wasn't involved in this trip. But Greg and I and a bunch of our buddies went up to Killington up in Vermont for a ski trip. And we had a Kia Sedona with a 3.8 liter V6. And it was a bucket of meh. Because this was back when Kia made vehicles. Cheap, plasticky. But that 3.8 liter 6 was so torquey that it would do burnouts on command. So it was hilarious. Vic goes, bring back the Ford Contour with the 2.3 liter EcoBoost. I'd love to see a new Contour with an updated version of the Touratech 2.5 liter V6. And if you don't think that's a thing, you can go on Ford's website right now and buy a 3.3 liter Duratec V6. They still make it. Ford Performance, I think. And it's pretty impressive. It's like right around 300 horsepower. Why the Police Interceptor EcoBoost, Sean? That's the same. That's actually a detuned version of the show's EcoBoost. What else from the past? Gosh, I'm trying to think. Like, it's kind of something we've talked about before, but like, why not bring back, like we were talking about? Yeah, Vic. You can go and buy it as a crate engine from Ford right now. We kind of talked about it, and it's kind of off limits. I guess kind of. What's going on, Tony? How you doing, my friend? But I've always maintained that because this version of the Charger was such a galactic failure for Mopar, the next generation should be a complete departure from it. And I'm not saying you throw it... Look, the Charger has had a checkered past. You had the original Chargers, which are, hell yeah, Hemi, 426, or the 440 Max Wedge. Let's go. Fun fact, the 440 Max Wedge with the six pack, which was 3 dual carburetors, made a significant amount more power than the Max Wedge, in case anyone was wondering. And then, of course, in the 80s, it was a front-wheel drive thing. Right? But let's face it, that brand, that name, that brand doesn't carry a lot of weight right now. So why not, when you reboot it, bring back another classic Mopar nameplate, like something like the Barracuda? And then all of a sudden you have the Hemi Cuda is back. And again, Dodge has shown us that when they put their mind to it, they can do retro modern better than anyone. Because while the Challenger, the last Challenger, technically speaking, was, the new Charger is 2 doors, Sean. It's 2 and 4 door. Sean is a friend of mine, so I understand. Like, it seems like I'm picking on Sean. He's a friend of mine in Boston Chops. But imagine, they take that ethos and they bring back the Hemi Cuda on that same sort of design philosophy and strategy, and the guys who did the last Charger. That's a very quick and it obviously has a Hemi V8 in it. That's a very quick and easy way to immediately bounce back. From, you know, the whatever the hell the current Charger is. I mean, hell, if you really wanted to get into it, I mean, you could do something like that. Mopar could bring back something like the Duster. Again, a small front engine, rear wheel drive, sports car aimed at sort of the Miata and the GR86 sort of market. What else would be a good one? I mean, a thought I had while I was listening to Greg was Chevy brings back the Bel Air. That's the wagon variant, or not the Bel Air, the Nomad. So yeah, you could do it as a shooting brake. I don't know how well that would do, because let's face it, Americans are stupid and don't like wagons for stupid reasons. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you have this base on which you've done a Camaro. Oh, we have a wagon variant called the Nomad. The Satellite. That would be... I mean, again, here's the thing. Even when Cadillac did the wagon thing with the CTS-V. So they've done it in the past, and when I mean the past, I mean the not so distant past. You know, they've done it in the era of high definition. We'll just say that, right? But there's so many different things you could do. Like, I think, you know, they're bringing back the Jimmy. So, like, I honestly think, like, the Blazer, like a K5 Blazer variant would do really well. Again, have they done enough? Did they do enough brand damage to the Blazer name to where they want to keep their distance? And that's why they only announce a Jimmy returning, even though the Jimmy was like the last of the Jimmys was one of the laziest brand badge engineering I've ever seen. It literally had a slightly different hood, and that was it, and a slightly different grille.
Russell those Jimmys.
Hey, you could. We will in the not too distant future, Greg. You could be hustling those Jimmys.
That's true. Very true.
Sean says it too. The Ram Charger. Imagine that.
That'd be crazy.
Imagine a Ram Charger TRX.
Please, yes.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Like, there's so many different things that the American manufacturer could do that other brands are doing. You know, I really like your idea of bringing in a sports sedan. And I think GM is going that direction. Ford wants to go that direction. But again, it doesn't need to be a Mustang. It doesn't need to be a Camaro. The modern buyer is smart enough to know that you don't need, like you said before, nobody is going in thinking, I want to get me a Mustang. Have you tried the Mach-E? No, I want a Mustang. Right? So, like, it's just one of those, it's like one of those things. Like, I think you'll appreciate this one. I said one of the cars I'd bring back is the Merkur, the XI. Yeah, and make it cool. A Miata GR86 competitor.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's a great idea.
Like the Lightning and Extreme immediately popped to mind. Yeah, I think sport trucks are making a comeback.
Yeah,
which would then mean, you know, like you said in your one video, you have the Jimmy, You know what the Jimmy spawned back in the day?
What's that?
Do you know what the Jimmy spawned back in the day?
Oh no, I'm asking. What's that? What did it spawn?
The Typhoon.
That's there you go. Make the Typhoon.
You
Make
know,
the Jimmy,
like,
and then make the Typhoon immediately afterwards.
you know, like there's just so much. There's a good back catalog to come from, and like, Silverado SS will come with the now Vic. And a very important question here: if we're bringing back the Silverado SS, will it have a big block like the 454? I mean, technically speaking, you could punch out an LS, although it's not the LS anymore. But technically speaking, the LS can be punched out to 454 cubic inches. I'm just saying. I don't know if the new. I don't know if the new ones can. I know the LT2 that was in the Corvettes was punched out to 427 cubic inches by Lingenfelter, and that did involve more modification than the like Texas Speed taking a 5.3 block and making it a 427.
Yeah.
A boosted 6.7. I mean, here's the thing. And before we get onto like the Nissan stuff and everything, yes, it'd be very easy for them to lower the compression ratio of the 6.7. 13-to-1 is absurd. Now, on the one hand, you won't need a hell of a lot of boost to get that thing easily north of 700, if not 800. Like 10 psi of boost, and you're probably at 800 at the crank without really trying all that hard. Case in point, the Silver Mustang was making about 800 at the crank on 10 psi with a 5-liter, 307 cubic inches with 12-to-1 compression. So, or I'm sorry, 11-to-1 compression. It's still boggle. That engine is going to have a fuck ton of potential, because I think you do a cam valve springs. We'll have to see how the heads flow, because LT heads famously flow really well when all they have to do is flow air. When they have to flow drops, i.e. air and fuel, they're worse than, say, an LS head.
Yeah.
So, Sean goes, I still want the Blazer back as a proper off-road capable small SUV instead of the absolute pile of garbage they call the Blazer now. I mean, again, here's the thing. In today's day and age, if GMC is going to bring back the Jimmy based on a Canyon platform, then a Blazer based on a Colorado, it's more than likely. I would have to say it's more than likely going to happen, because it's too fucking easy not to.
Right. And it's also another stream of money for them, which, you know, at the end of the day, car companies are there to make money. So
not only is it another stream of money, but then you have the economies of scale coming into the equation. You're making more chassis, which means it's cheaper for you to produce all of the componentry for it.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you're a greedy OEM and you're probably not going to pass it on to the customer, it makes a fuck ton of sense to you, the business owner. But while we're on the subject of names from yesteryear making a comeback, sort of, less so of a comeback, which we'll get to here in a second. Where are our JDM fans at? Because Nissan has announced that the Skyline nameplate is coming back. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions on what exactly Skylines are. Most of our generation, since we grew up not having a clue what they were, only from video games, most people associate Skyline with GTR. That's not the case. Because they made Skyline rear-wheel drive variants. The GTT. They made 4-door variants. And then even as recent, like the most recent Skyline was an Infiniti sedan, which comes as no surprise. And the most recent Skylines in Japan were the G35, and then later the G37, and then whatever the crap it ended up being called, the QFW9 Tweezer 9000, whatever the crap it was. But the Skyline name has been around longer than most people realize, but it's not necessarily exactly what they think. That being said, it's a very much similar vein to, how do I put this? Like the 3 Series, and like the 3 Series before they split it off into the 4 Series. You had the regular sedan, the regular coupe, you had a performance-minded coupe, you had a performance-minded sedan, and then you had the M version. And that's what the GTR was. It is making a comeback. However, the Skyline name will continue to not be in the United States.
Yeah, that sucks. But
we're going to get it.
There is a silver lining.
But we are going to get it in Infiniti Q50 form, something like that.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And
that's what the last one was basically like the Infiniti Q50 was like the Skyline in Japan. So makes sense.
So, Vic mentioned it in chat. So, in theory, and from everything I've read, they are, it's going to be the exact same car, just with Infiniti badging. And it's going to be that high horsepower manual sports sedan that that you did a reel on.
Yeah.
Vic goes, but I also feel that the Skyline coming out is probably going to be what the Infiniti sedan is going to be, in which it'll be a takeover car again. Do you guys see that? I forget the state, somewhere in the Midwest, I think. They banned all Infinitis from the car meet.
No, yeah. I just spotted that actually today. It was all it wasn't just Infinitis, all VQs. They literally they called out the engine. This is like, okay, well, there's a clear bias here because of what that part of the culture there is doing. So yeah. Every VQ engine was banned.
But, I mean, here's the bottom line, right? The original G35, which sort of started that whole takeover thing, was a damn good car when it was new. Yeah. It was a really, really good car. Our buddy had one. To this day, it is one of the most stable, easy cars I have ever driven sideways. It's just such a
good compliment.
Right. It's just a very controllable car beyond the limit. So, and then like all things, right? Like E36 3 Series are dirt cheap. Doesn't mean they weren't a good car when they first came out. And here's the thing. We've talked at length about how Nissan needs to infuse themselves with something exciting. This is how you do it. Now, I am mildly worried that it's an Infiniti, which means this is our luxury brand, so they can justify charging it or putting a ridiculous price tag on it, like they did with the Z and the Nismo version of that. The fact that was ever at any point had a $70,000 sticker price without a markup was laughably stupid.
Yeah.
Because everybody saw right through it. It's like, there ain't no way that you're pricing that justified on the expense to make it because you used an old chassis, you used an old engine, you used an old transmission. No new development. Now, I'm not saying the combination of the parts are bad. What I'm saying is that it's not like it was a ground-up redesign.
Right.
But since I've been talking for most of this particular segment, Greg, what are your thoughts?
I mean, getting another GTR and getting a Skyline.
Here's the thing. Since that G35 derivation,
Right.
the GTR has become its own thing. It's kind of like the Celica Supra, right? So it was originally the same thing, just a variant. Then they separated.
So,
but there is also a new GTR in the works. I saw an article on that. I didn't have time to read it in depth.
yeah, so that's sort of where I was going to go with it. Like the fact that they're getting another Skyline and the fact that they are bringing back the GTR, like it just shows that Nissan is trending in the right direction in the sense of where they want to be from a corporate perspective, because they are actively admitting that they were wrong on so many levels. And there was another quote that I saw from an article today in passing of, we bet big and the bet didn't pay off, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing it. Whereas like, oh, okay, so they're acknowledging that they totally fucked up with Infinity, like legit effed up. So this is not something that they are basically saying like, oh, like what OEMs normally do, right? When they screw up, they're like, oh, we were just following the trends and we were making sure that our customers were satisfied, but we're going in a different direction now. They never take ownership, right? The top brass at Nissan are now actively owning that they screwed the pooch on the Infinity brand and Nissan by and large as a whole. So I respect that very much. When you are, if you mess up, own that. I think that is something that a lot of people just in general don't do. So I very much respect that. I think that bringing the Skyline nameplate back and announcing at the New York Auto Show that there is going to be another GTR, probably a hybrid. It's probably not going to be a solely internal combustion car, because they did say that the bottom end, the block of that car is definitely coming back. They're probably going to do a lot of work to the top end and everything else, forged whatever.
You mean the VR38 DT?
Yeah, exactly. So like
TT.
that engine, the block, the bottom end at least, is going to not go anywhere. But the rest of it will they'll probably build around that, obviously, with a newish sort of engine and platform. Like that just shows that like they're trying to go back to what works. And I'm like, okay, that makes it much more interesting and much more exciting for me. So I believe that they are going to be trending in the right direction this year. They're going to continue that into next year. But 2028 is going to be very interesting for Nissan and Infinity as a whole, because that is then essentially 4 years out from when they started this whole redo of everything. And they are like, Nissan is shrinking their lineup. They are focusing on what works, and they're doing the things that a company should be doing to really right the ship. And the Skyline's a big part of that, because of any nameplate in the entirety of Nissan's history, Datsun aside, just the word Nissan. What are the top 3 nameplates? Skyline is one.
Pulsar, Xterra, Frontier.
No. Pulsar, I mean, I'd argue that, sure. But Skyline is synonymous with Nissan. And that's one of those names where you bring that back, you do it properly with a sports sedan, with a sedan that's going to be, worthy of that name, and not make another crossover. Again, I always harp on the Mitsubishi example, but they turned our boy into they turned our Eclipse boy into a crossover. Like, come on, man. Like, doing that shows me that Nissan is actually trying, and that's big. So, with me talking for a lot now, like, I feel that Nissan is making the right steps. I'm excited to see what the next generation Skyline is going to be, and I'm excited to see what the GTR parlays into off of that.
So here's the thing. I think this could be ginormous. In the sense of the new GTR comes out. It's a hybrid. How are people going to react to that? And then they look over here and they go, oh, I can get what is effectively a Skyline with a manual for a lot less, and it's a lot more of an analog car.
Yeah. That's true.
Like,
it's that.
Again, the biggest thing with this that Nissan has to do, and they have to get it through their thick skulls, is that you cannot take a car that everybody who knows anything, and even people who don't, that is, I don't want to call it a parts bin special, but you get the idea. They can't repeat the mistakes of the Z. The Z had enormous hype. It was going to be the thing that was going to be affordable. It was going to have the manual option. It was basically going to be like the Supra, only less. And then it somehow turned into about the same price for the one that you wanted. They can't do that with this.
No.
If they do, it'll be a cool thing for a couple years, and that's it. You know, and that's where they have to really... Okay, so it has an Infinity badge, so it's going to have a luxury interior and all this other stuff. Fine. Guess what you have now created? An M4 competitor.
Yep.
If you can do it, again, it's much like the Camaro. If you can do it for 10, 15, whatever grand less, and have it be 80% as enjoyable, and hit those key notes that you have to have: good steering feel, good seating position, good pedal feel, but say it's not as fast as an M4, but it's a brand new car that gets you pretty much there on the street, you know, in terms of performance. That's the thing most people don't realize, is that on the street, and I don't mean to sound like one of those drag racers, it's different on the street, man. You ain't real street.
Right.
But in the day-to-day driving, daily driving, where you are maybe at most driving at 4/10, 5/10. You know, you're not going 10/10 trying to get every last ounce of performance out of the car. Nor really should you, but the point of the matter is that you're not exploring the limits of the engineering of the car. So really, a car that's 80% of what's considered to be the best, as long as it hits on the key parts, it will be successful.
Yeah, agree.
So,
one comment I wanted to just, I can't read the name, but it says they need to quit having long life cycle of their lineup. I don't necessarily agree with that. Long life cycle of lineups works for a lot of different manufacturers. Just look at the Porsche 911. I know that's changed drastically over the years, but a better example for that in modern history is the older Dodge Charger and Challenger. That remained largely unchanged for a solid 15 years. They just made small tweaks over time, and by the end of it, was really good. It's a great package. Long lineup and longevity and long life cycle is totally fine if it's a good product. That is the difference. I think Nissan's product was just overall not great. The Rogue is, I think, probably their best vehicle, selling wise and just overall. And that has been changed a bunch. So it's not like they had a ton of life cycle, just stayovers that didn't change forever. So that it's not like they weren't doing things to try to make them either better or that. But it was. I mean, at the end of it, when they really started to go south, yes, it was getting a little long in the tooth for sure. But I don't think necessarily longevity in life cycle is a bad thing as long as the product overall is good. It's just they had one thing that was good, and the rest of it just wasn't. So you need to have the whole lineup has to be good if you're going to have it.
The biggest thing is that long life cycle of a vehicle is not a bad thing. You just can't project the image of it being a long in the tooth.
Yeah.
You can't project the image of it effectively being a 15-year-old car that's slightly dressed up for today.
Yeah.
But here's the bottom line. Aluminum head or aluminum block casting, you're not really going to reinvent the wheel there.
Yeah.
Head design, you could make steady improvements over the course of time. Case in point, look at what the Coyote was, right? Gen 1 Coyotes to now the Gen 4. A little bit more compression, a little bit more displacement, but it's the same basic idea. It's evolved. You have to show that level of evolution. Again, the S650 Mustang is based on an 11-year-old chassis, but nobody seems to care.
Well, right. If the chassis is good, it's fine.
And it's the perception of new, right?
Right.
You had you had 15 to 17, then the facelift in 18, and you go from there. So Nissan is just like, well, we can't just introduce anything new. Here's the thing. If you're going to have a long life cycle, pass that on to the customer.
Right.
And nobody will give a shit. Now, that ain't going to happen because greed.
True.
But look, at the end of the day, the fact that we have a Camaro coming back, a manual pony car.
Yes.
We now have a Skyline and whatever they call it. That's going to be offered with a manual.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a manual is be all end all, but you want to get people in the door, or you want to get people like us talking about it. You want to get people raving about something, about make that manual feel good, make it handle well, make the steering and brakes feel good. And I guarantee you that people like us who review these things are going to love them.
Yeah. 100%.
You know. And yeah, it may only make up 15% of your total sales. But again, if you get the reviewing culture, the reviewing population, talking about it, buzzworthy about it,
yeah,
it's a win. And here's the thing. It's for the first time in a very long time, we are talking positively about the Nissan brands.
Yes, that's actually a great point, which is a wild departure from what's happened over the last decade. So very, very interesting.
But, and I think this is a great way to close it out. But, you know, this is the quote unquote nature is healing. Right?
Yes.
Body on frame SUV is coming out in the Jimmy. Right? New Camaro. New sports sedan Buick. Didn't have that on my 2026 bingo card.
Or any year bingo card, honestly.
You know. Nissan is making a sports sedan with a manual and over 400 horsepower.
That's pretty crazy, to be honest.
Nature is healing.
Automotive nature.
Right? Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of
You're
stuff.
not wrong.
There's a lot of stuff that should get enthusiasts kind of excited.
Yeah.
You know. And I think that's the biggest takeaway of all of this is that OEMs, yeah, we're getting an Xterra or whatever back. Again, another body on frame truck, off-roader.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
like
true.
It's showing that hopefully, this is signaling the downturn of the age of the crossover.
One can only hope.
Now, they're still going to be ubiquitous for decades.
Sure.
You can't put that. You can't put the idea of, it drives like a car, gets car-ish gas mileage, and I sit up a little higher and I can see more things. I'm not saying any of that's right. I'm just saying that's perception.
That's the idea.
That's a tough genie to put back in the bottle.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Saw a lot of new faces.
Yes.
Saw a lot of activity over on X, which was pretty cool. Even though we had only one commenter from there. A lot of new faces, a lot of returning new faces. And when I say that, I don't mean and this isn't a slight, people we've met maybe this year on the show.
Which is awesome.
Or
Keep
late.
going back.
So that's really awesome, really fun. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who watched, shared, commented. Like I said last week, the comments are a driving force of this show. You guys are the third host.
That's right.
But that all leads me into, you've had 2 weeks to prepare for this, Greg. The Gregson Dad Advice of the Week.
Well, it goes along with what we've been talking about tonight. You know, there's a lot of new fun things happening. And there's a lot of negativity out there currently, but don't forget to be hopeful every once in a while. You know, whether it be in the automotive realm, personal realm, other realms that you may, prescribe to or reside in. Try to distance yourself a little bit from the negativity every once in a while, and be hopeful. You know, we got a lot of cool stuff coming in the automotive realm. Let's be hopeful. You know, every once in a while. There's too much. You know, there's a great quote from Bruno Mars a couple of years ago when he won a bunch of Grammys when he put out whatever album that was. It was like 24 karat gold on it, like that album that he put out, where it was like really Uptown Funk was on it. He went up and he got his award. He's like, there's too many sad songs out there these days, man. Let's get some happiness back. And I'm like, you know what? That's a great fucking attitude. What an awesome quote to say. Like, stop the sad songs, man. Let's get some positivity back. Let's have some hopefulness. Automotive realm, we got good shit coming out. Let's stop and be a little hopeful once in a while, you know? That's the dad advice for the week.
Absolutely.
Get rid of that negativity. Let's get some positive shit going.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's... You know what? I mean, it's one of the funnier memes, and I don't know if I should mention it, but it's just like, if you're going to... Negativity is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think negative, things are always going to be negative. So...
Yeah.
Be positive. Look forward to the good. You know, celebrate the small wins.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
And on that note, that's going to do it. We'll see everyone hopefully back at our usually scheduled time of around 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week,
Yes.
And hopefully without technical difficulties, or at least this time, if it doesn't work, we can pivot.
Pivot
to the backup plan 9000 a lot quicker.
Yes.
So until next week.